Because they sat there and they systematized this whole thing, they literally drew it out. They took their tennis court and they made it an example of, imagine if we just did hamburgers, we could get rid of that barbecue kit, we could put all this together. And they studied the movement of every employee in their store to get this just right. And by figuring out the flow, they took their hamburger that they were selling at normally a competitive 30 cents a hamburger, and they dropped it to 15 cents. 15 cents. Now there's a saying, a very important saying for all businesses, should know this one. Sell to the masses, live with the classes. Sell to the classes, live with the masses. If you're selling Ferraris, I don't care how good a salesman you are, there's only a limited market. But what do you think the market was for 15-cent hamburgers? Well, we know the end of that story. And so it absolutely, they took off. Let me just explain their first year. The restaurant sales increased from 200,000. They were doing good before the change. But they went from 200,000, their first full year went from 200,000 to $350,000. Cutting their products offered, the food offered by over 50%, nearly doubled their sales. Unheard of. Unheard of. Here's what John Love said. The brothers refused to let even the choice of condiments impede the fast food format. All hamburgers were prepared with ketchup, mustard, onions, and 2 pickles. Any order deviating from this delayed the service. Now, in today's market, they expect that type of systematic discipline and choices. So remember, we're back in the 1950s when we're talking this. So systems today have to figure out, how do I create that repeatability and duplicatability, yet still give the customer exactly what he wants? So this is a little dated. I mean, the competition's even stronger today. But McDonald's brothers, they said, if we give people a choice, there will be chaos. You will eat those pickles, and that's all there is to it. Oh, boy. But Kroc was sold. He looked at this. Now, remember, Kroc had sold multi-mixers to nearly anybody in the food industry for nearly 30 years. He knew this business. And so when he knew a winner when he saw it. Kroc understood that the business needed to be packaged more than just selling cheap hamburgers. This is the true genius, in my opinion, of Ray Kroc. Here's how Michael Gerber described it. Ray Kroc created much more than a fantastically successful business. He created a model upon which an entire generation of entrepreneurs have since built their fortunes. The franchise phenomenon. Gerber called it the business format franchise. And if you think about business, not just accomplishing a task, but creating a business system to accomplish that task over and over and over again. It's a turnkey system. You get in, you follow the McDonald's franchise, business format franchise, and you produce results. And people did. See, Ray Kroc understood that he was not selling hamburgers, he was selling a business system. And whatever business you're doing, don't just think about the end product. If you're creating a business that other people can use, think about creating a business that's so turnkey that anybody with the hunger to learn can make it work, because that's essential. If the franchisee didn't believe the McDonald's system could produce profitable results, no one would purchase the franchise. Would you buy a franchise if you knew it wouldn't work? Well, of course not. But if you knew, if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that your business would be successful, then certainly you would invest in a business that you knew you'd produce results. And that's the key. Here's what Michael Gerber said. At that point, Ray Kroc began to look at his business as the product, and at the franchisee as his first, last, and most important customer. Are you getting that? In other words, the customer's not the first customer, certainly we have a customer that comes up to the counter, but again, we had all these people go to McDonald's, right? How many people were served a hamburger by Ray Kroc? Nobody. And yet, if it weren't for Ray Kroc and the McDonald's brothers creating a system that was duplicatable, none of us would have ever experienced that hamburger, because he sold a business format franchise that was so good that when someone bought it, it was so successful that somebody else noticed their success and then they bought a business format franchise. How many people are old enough to remember when the first McDonald's came into town, right? He's like, oh, I got to go check this place out. What is this? These yellow M's here. And so it's the same type of process. Driven by the desire to buy a business, the franchisee only wanted to know one thing. Does it work? Does it work? Can you imagine someone saying, you know, I think I want to buy a McDonald's franchise. Well, why do you want to do that? Because I've always dreamed of selling hamburgers. That probably wasn't it. Or this one. I tasted the hamburger. This is going to sell billions. Probably not. So why'd they do it? Because they were convinced it would work.